Welcome to the Public Speaking Podcast. It is a pleasure to be back in the studio again once more with my friend, my colleague, Alexander Grabner-Jarling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alexander Grabner-Jarling, the communication coach here at Headgain, and also the co-host of this beautiful the public speaking. I'm forgetting the public speaking podcast. I've said it so many times that it gets my mind all mixed up. All right, Lucas, what are we doing today? We're doing something cool
today. Today is a very special, super special episode. Super excited. And sorry, did I cut you off?
No, you didn't, because I was just going to say it's a super exciting moment. It's a special.
Yes.
It's one of those, what is going to go down? It's going to be what do you call it? A special edition, something that we haven't done before, but something that we will keep on doing, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there we go. As you can hear, we have someone else in the studio, and it is because we have done SPEAKERx, the most fantastic program that we've ever launched. We helped 10 speakers get on stage from page to stage, as we said. And
Yes.
It is a pleasure to start introducing these friends of us now into the podcast as a special success series of SPEAKERx. And with that, Alex, who is in the studio today?
See, this guy just blew my mind. First of all, I instantaneously, the second he opened his mouth, and he already kind of, he always gave it away a little bit, but he became my instantaneous man crush for a brief moment there, because he became my Optimus Prime. And if there's something that I love back in history is Transformers. I'm one of those 90s kids, right? So when he started talking, I'm like, wait a minute, you just like the depth. And I'm looking from the 110 steps perspective, from voice. The guy you're going to listen to now is just blowing my mind. But the story he has to share was something that really hit home for me as well. Even if I didn't go the same path, there were so many similarities, and I'm going like, this is good. So when he did his signature talk afterwards, it's one of those, I keep thinking about what he told everybody on that stage. So I don't think I'm doing justice to just go, okay, so this is the person, this is what he does. I think it's better for him to just do it with his beautiful voice and the depth to it. So I want to welcome on stage no other in the studio, virtually, Ayo Johnson.
Thank
Yay!
you. Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. I'm really, really grateful for being here and having this wonderful opportunity. First of all, the journey that we were on, and now to have this podcast is just literally more cherries on the cake. It's just beautiful. Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, we are the one that is so grateful that you're here. But the question I think that the listener has right now is, okay, so who is Ayo Johnson? So buddy, who are you? What do you do? The classical, the networking is like, who are you? What do you do? What kind of shoe size do you have? No, I'm just kidding. But who are you? What do you do? What's your profession? What's your trait?
Well, my name is Ayo Johnson. I'm a speaker. I speak on resilience. I help people perform without exhaustion. Okay. And basically how I do this is it's all about training your resilience muscle. I speak to teams, I speak to organizations, I speak to MBA students, London Business School, as well as high school students. This talk is for everybody. And, so far I've spoken to a lot of organizations, mainly in the accounting space. But I help people understand how to gain a greater awareness as to how to increase their resilience and how to retrain it, how to spot what weakens our resilience, and then how to retrain it, because anything trained can be retrained. And my background is based on 37 years of bodybuilding, because that's just part and parcel of who I am. So, but what I realized was I'd built a lot of muscle, but I didn't have the resilience that I wanted to have. So until I discovered my own formula, and now I've also been an entrepreneur for 22 years in various different business endeavors.
Wow. I have just a little quick follow-up before I'm going to let Lucas pop in a question. What is the biggest difference between speaking to the corporate rounds to the kids, like the young adults? What is the biggest difference between those two? I know it's a top of the mind question I had, but I'm just very
Yeah,
curious.
it's a very good question because the kids, I was once one of those kids that if I had heard this talk, and we're going to talk about this later on, if I had heard this talk 40 years ago, I would have had a different experience. So talking to the kids, what I normally do is I tailor it specifically to them. I don't dumb it down, but I use the examples that I had when I was a kid. In the corporate world, I use examples for what they're facing specifically in the workplace, because yes, there's a tiny little part I can talk about how I became who I am today in the speaking world, but I want to zero in on the specific challenges that they're facing, whether it's a sales team or whether it's people who are having two departments that are being dissolved and they're merged to one, or two companies have merged and there's different cultures. How do they figure it out? So the delivery is the same, but I zero in on different things, specifically to do with the workplace for the corporate audiences.
I think that was a very good answer to a very spontaneous question. But now, Lucas, what's on your plate? What's
Well,
on your mind and thoughts?
yeah, no. I think that's really interesting, and the width, and this just shows that speaking is so wide of a topic, and you can go in and speak wherever you want,
Yeah.
and and it's beautiful. I really
Yeah.
connect with what you're saying, with going back to if I could just talk to myself as a kid
Oof.
and being in that place,
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah.
So let's dive into.
Okay.
Over a period of 6 weeks,
Mhm.
we helped and looked at to develop your signature talk, a very specific talk that you can now use wherever you're going. You're expanding on it, you're doing it, you finally got your signature talk done. Can you walk us through it? What is your signature talk?
Well, before I answer this question, I want to frame it with one of the quotes that made a very big impact on me. It's Henry David Thoreau. And he wrote something. He said, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation." Now, obviously, for today's audience, we would say the mass of people lead lives of quiet desperation. That quote reflects on his observations on the nature of the human experience, nature of human life, and also the pressures of societal expectations. He wrote that quote in 1845. The mass of people lead lives of quiet desperation. So now to go into to answering your question, my talk is called The Resilience Blueprint. And I talk about, first of all, about the fortresses we build, because I built a fortress of muscle, thinking winning trophies was going to, make me feel validated, and it didn't. And then there is a very important foundation on which this talk is built, which is resilience isn't what happens after life hits you. It's what you train for before anything happens. And this message is vital today because we are more reactive now than ever before. Imagine the things that we are reacting to now compared to when Henry David Thoreau wrote that quote in 1845. We're more reactive now because we have lower attention spans. In the 1990s, we had attention span of 15 seconds. Now it's 8 seconds. And you see, the issue now that we have is most people aren't responding to life. They're reacting to it. And this is the key. And they're reacting to it because we have lower attention spans. And by doing this, by reacting, they're unconsciously training their reactivity muscle. And that can cause issues because, some of them will wake up, they check their emails, they check their numbers, and whatever they see dictates how they feel. You know, if they see good numbers, they feel confident. Is there a good email, you know, commending them for something they've done, they feel good. If they see bad, they feel pressure, doubt, stress. And then from that reaction, they act. And here's the problem. When you react from what you see, you're effectively reacting to the past. Because Einstein talked about this. He said, there's no problem you can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. Let that sink in, because current results are actually the results of past thinking, past decisions, and past habits. So when we react emotionally, you let the past thinking control your present behavior. And that is why people stay stuck. So a salesperson can check their numbers and they're down and they feel I'm behind, or this isn't working, I need to catch up. And then the pressure kicks in and performance drops. And then they create more of the same results, not because they lack activity, but because they reacted instead of responded. And this is what I zone in on. And when we react, we become emotional, and that's all cortisol driven. And when we are emotional, that emotional roller coaster is what weakens our resilience. So I help people to, first of all, identify where it is they're reacting and why. And then the shift is anything that's been trained can be retrained. And that's by training our attention. Firstly, becoming consciously aware of what is happening, because a lot of this stuff happens silently. You first of all get awareness, greater awareness, and then you increase your attention. Okay, attention as to what is actually happening, because you see, attention is a very important part of my talk, because, you know, if you think about it, our attention spans are lower because there's so much begging for our attention. Corporations are spending billions on trying to capture and monetize our attention. Look at algorithms. You know, in my day, when I say in my day, like 100 years ago, newspapers, magazines, radio, TV. If you couldn't switch on the TV, if your parents didn't let you switch on the TV, you know, but now we have these, you see. So when the attention is fractured, we have a fragmented identity, which means that we're very easy to steer. So gaining control of the awareness and the attention, the value is greater control. It's greater control so that your thoughts don't use you. And when your thoughts are using you, you don't actually realize it. It's happening in the background. It's silently. This comes back to this silent leading lives of quiet desperation. You think this is normal thinking, but it's not. So I raise the awareness of that. And then I also, you know, one of the biggest points is to understand that the mind is a wonderful servant, but it is a terrible master. So that's gives you an idea of the talk, you know. So
Imagine getting all of that in 10 minutes.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. But yeah, it's the fortresses we build. It's our reactivity. It's our reduced attention. Then it's about our thoughts, about the value of our thoughts, the value of our attention. And then it's about the mental diet, you know. So the mental diet is the inner conversation that gives the ability to adapt to an event, a life event, and then to recover through a conscious mental diet, and then to bounce back. It's the bouncing back that's the key. But we have to understand how to recover. Well, first of all, how to adapt, and then how to recover. So
that's a very good answer to a very simple question, I would say. Yeah, I like that.
it's in depth.
It is, but it should be as well. I mean, it's an important topic. Why is it important though for the industry right now to hear, like, in the ones that you're not targeting, like the audience that you're talking to? Why is it so important now? Like, why not? I mean, do you think that we had this? Well, it kind of didn't say that we'd have the same issue back in the 90s, but and when we grew up, our generation, the three of us. But if you would look into the why it's so why is it now? Why por qué? Por qué now?
Why?
Why? Warum? Yeah, why now?
Specifically now, because if you look at the statistics of anxiety,
Yeah.
depression, it's it's higher than ever before. And I guess it's because you could also say it's because we have more labels for things. We have neurodivergent, we have, and this is all part of the human experience. But people are a lot more in touch with where they're struggling. But the problem is, I mean, in companies, there's a lot more dialogue as to, or resources for people to go and have conversations about what's going on. But some people don't want to do that because they don't want to flag themselves up as struggling. And they think, oh, maybe if I go and say this, I'm weak, or if I'm more resilient, I'll just be able to keep taking stuff on. And that's one of the misconceptions. People think that, okay, I'll just take on more work, I'll work extra weekends, and I'll do this because it'll make me more resilient, it'll make me stronger. But that is the beginning of silent burnout. And burnout is something that there is a lot more of now in this day and age because we have more responsibilities in the workplace. There's more competition for jobs. AI has made that a more competitive environment, and people need to have more security, and that security starts here.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty common misconception. Just work more, work harder, and you'll get to rest more. And we just forget the recuperation, the getting the energy back. And I can see clearly how, when you're talking about resilience training, you're also talking about preemptive training, like pre-training, to be able to actually handle those tough moments.
Mhm.
What do you call it? It's not preemptive. It's
You're prepared,
proactive.
proactive. Yeah, you are
There we go.
more prepared, because
Mm.
I've spoken to one company in particular, and they said that, sometimes people they just don't want to come forward with these subjects because, and this
Mm.
is why this can be a silent thing going on in the background. And that's how it leads to problems in the work. Now people have the option of working from home. And, sometimes they'll say, okay, we'll do 2 or 3 days in the office, 2 or 3 days at home. And they want to stay home. And I was told this by one of the clients I did a conference for, that some people stay home because it actually is a more safe environment for them, you know?
Mm.
So because that, I think the events of 6 years ago, COVID, gave us more flexibility to
Yep.
work from home.
Definitely.
So some
Definitely.
people some people have used that as an insulation to hide. Hide is
Mm.
not the right word, but to insulate themselves from office politics and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's going to be interesting. I mean, we catapulted into a new dimension, so to say, from COVID. Everyone had to go on to digital meetings, sit on Zoom suddenly, from
for
not even hearing about what is Zoom. No one knew what it was, and a year later, everyone knew what it was, and everyone was using it. It went very fast. Now AI is coming, and I think that's going to be the next push. And the more important it is to be resilient. So thank
well,
you,
this
Ayo,
is
for
it.
coming in with that.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Yes.
I wish I
Yeah.
bought shares in Zoom. I wish I
Yeah,
had
yeah, we
shares.
all do. So, Ayo, I'm really curious, how you went from you
Mhm.
had an idea of this talk, and
Hmm.
now you have a talk that you have it for 10 minutes, you're expanding it, you're using it with kids, you're using it with corporate, and you did that in 6 weeks. So, what was the hardest part for you when cutting down all of this into something short and very concise that still talked about the essence of what you wanted to speak about?
Wow, that was tough. I got to tell you, that was tough because initially I mean, this is the thing with ideas. In the beginning, it feels like the best idea, and it wasn't a bad idea. But when I joined SpeakerX, it was just like, okay, this is a great thing, but now we're going to boil it down and we're going to reshape it, restructure it, remove this and remove that. And I'm a perfectionist. So I wanted to keep certain parts, but I'm thinking, how am I going to do this in 10 minutes? So let me just explain. So in the beginning, wanted to approach this as a workout, the resilience workout. So it was a shape of a dumbbell, and there were different components of that dumbbell, either the weights on either side. I had planning, preparation, repetition, then diet, pain, and failure. So, you want to do a workout, you plan, you prepare, then you train your reps, and then you have your specific diet for muscle growth, in this case, your mental diet, and then constructive pain, because obviously there is amount of pain in training. There is some kind of pain. And then to reframe the word failure, because obviously when you train, you do 10 reps, your body gets used to it. But after 15 reps, that's where you fail, and that's where the growth is. So that was the original plan. Now, when I came to SpeakerX, it was looked at and it was completely restructured. So because I come from a bodybuilding background, it had to have, I boiled it down to the perfect ingredients, and I was given specific spices to make this dish pack a punch. Now, how this happened was we kept the muscle parts because resilience is a muscle. Then the training aspects, because this is about training the attention. So those are the key words: muscle, training, awareness, attention, conscious thought, and diet. So we went from training to attention, and then awareness first of all, then attention, and then conscious thinking, which is not allowing the mind to use you, and then the quality of the mental diet, because if resilience is a muscle, then the mental diet that you feed that muscle is the key to making that muscle grow. So it was a case of taking specific parts and then just adding specific spices to each part of it. And what blew me away was the unicorn effect of having a poem in the beginning. And then obviously you have the poem. You guys gave me an incredible structure. So I came in, sat down and read a poem. And then I talked a little bit about myself. And then I talked about how the talk was going to go ahead. I couldn't believe that I actually got it down to 10 minutes. Because as you can tell, I do talk quite a lot.
What? No, never. No, I would never even. If somebody would say, Ayo Johnson, like, does he like to talk? No, not so much. You have to kind of force it out of him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
My answers can go, but I'm very passionate about the subject. So yeah.
What did you said the unicorn effect, and I think for the listener, they might know you and I and Lucas, we know what it is. But if you're in your own words, what is the unicorn effect from what we gave you? What is the specifics of the unicorn?
Well, coming from a bodybuilding background, I could have gone on up there and stood there looking the way I do, talking about resilience and training and the workout. But what you did was you took the optics of that and then you changed it to come here, walk on stage and read a poem, which is resilience is silent and deep, like roots. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't explode outward, doesn't fall and doesn't break. And it simply always is. And you are. And I was like, this is interesting. So how do I go on from that? And then that kind of just brought the talk down to a level that, okay, this is deep. This isn't about some big guy who's going to come up and say, yeah, you need to be tough, because that poem actually made it very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very relatable to everybody in the audience. And then the real kicker was, it wasn't about being strong or looking strong or being powerful, because it is silent and deep like roots, which again goes back to what I mentioned about Henry David Thoreau, leading lives of quiet desperation. What does that quiet desperation come from? It's the inner conversation, so you guys nailed it for me. That was the unicorn effect that worked.
Well, happy
We
to
just
hear.
suggested it. You made
It's
it work. You got the pieces in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember just sitting there, and I was you were first in line as well. Like, you were the first speaker out on stage, and me and Alex, when we made that decision, we said this guy Ayo, he will not only nail it, he will also ground the audience to listen in and sharpen up for what's to come. You were the best
Thank
to
you.
start with. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
no,
That's
great.
encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hugely encouraging. Because anyway, yeah,
Happy.
I'm going to give you a little nugget as to what I'm going to do afterwards, because you guys gave me so much confidence. It was just incredible. I mean, now I'm like, yeah, I will tell you in a minute when you ask them.
Yeah.
Looking
Well,
forward to that.
that ties in
Leading
perfectly
up
with my
to
next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly, like
No,
slam dunk.
yeah. A hoop. Yes, but Ayo, super exciting. I know you have your talk, we have your history, we have everything. So what is coming next? Now that you have the talk, how will you use it to grow your business? What are your next steps? What is the future?
I've always found, I think maybe this comes from a fixed mindset. Whenever I've approached speaking agencies, I've always looked at their websites, and I've seen ex-Olympic athletes, and I've just been like, I've sent an email, and people come back and they say, oh, well, we'll come back to you, and I'm done waiting. So my plan now is to go into, I've got a list of 10 agencies to go and speak to. Going to walk in there, and I'm going to ask to speak to someone, and ask for representation, because then at least they've met me, and then we can follow up afterwards. Not we email and then we may come back to you and we may have a meeting with you. I want to go in and be eyeball to eyeball as politely as possible, and just say, look, I've contacted you a couple of times. You don't
You know who I am?
For those that are just listening, I just want to say, Ayo, you are a fortress of muscle. Like, when you say you're just going to go in and politely, you are a big muscular guy.
No,
I remember.
I'll put on my charm, my Barry White.
I remember when I was meeting Ayo the first time physically, like in Westeros, when we were doing the event, and he was coming there with and it was just, I'm like, oh, he looks big on screen, but damn, live. And we just gave each other this hug, and it never ended. I'm like, I wonder if I can feel the different muscle groups but I can barely fit around him. Just to give the ones who's only listening to it, the other ones you will see it, but no, it's a fortress, but a big bear inside of it. It's a huge, humongous bear, beautiful bear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So so thanks for that. So after the agencies, I'm currently building a talk for London Business School, another group of MBA students, and then I'm going to be going into my old school. I had a conversation with my old school. I arrived in England in 1983, so I ended up in that school in 1986, 40 years ago today. Well, 40 years ago this year. So I'm tailor-making a speech for them, because again, if I was sitting in their shoes, when I was that age and I had heard this, oof, it would have been a very, I wouldn't say it was a bad experience, but it could have been better because I want to show them how to enjoy a first-class experience of life. This is part of my plan for the future. Going into when it comes to students, that's one thing because their minds are still being developed. But I also want to stress this to corporates as well, because when I look at a first class experience, think about life like this. We're all on a journey. Okay, we're all on a plane. Let's call it an in-flight experience, and we're all going on the same journey. You can fly budget on the back of the plane, or you can fly first class in a reclining seat. When turbulence of life hits, that whole plane is going to shake. Everybody's going to feel it. But I want to show people how to go back to a first class experience. And that first or business class experience, that quality of that experience is based on a vital part of my talk, which is our inner conversation. What are we saying to ourselves here? So that's my plan for the future.
And I think that is excellently fine. I think you're touching something that many of us are already thinking. So, okay, so can you give us something now? So what is the top tip? And I know that if I would say, Ayo, you have 45 minutes, you would give like the entire list, because it's all about giving. You love sharing. Sharing is caring in your world. But if you can hone it in, what would be to the listener, the one, maybe the youth that are just accidentally popping into this little podcast with like, oh, what is the public speaking? Oh, listen, and all of a sudden they listen to you. Or it is the person who sits in the corporate rounds going like, this is just so resonating with me. What would be an advice? What is the top thing that you would like to share with them today, so they feel like, ha, that's
Oh, you mean
nice.
to have a first class experience up here?
Well, anything. What is the top tip? I mean, I was just flying from Barcelona the other day, and I was sitting in row 1C for once. That was the first time in a long time that I had but it was still just economy and coach. But it was a good experience. But what is it? What is it that you can give us?
Your top tip is, I would say, to do something you've never done before, and that's a 48-hour thought observation exercise. And that means that for 48 hours, you take an inventory of how your mind works. And that means it's just take a pen and paper. A lot of people will say that they want to put it in their phones, but that's a bad idea, because how many people pick up their phones and then they forget why they have their phone? So get a pen and paper, and every time you have a negative thought, without judging it or trying to force it away, just write it down. It doesn't have to be a long sentence. Just write a little date or whatever, the location. You will know what that negative thought is. And do that for 48 hours, because what it does is it creates a map, a Polaroid snapshot of what kind of ecosystem, what kind of diet, where do you live up here? If it's thoughts that are coming from years ago, then you know that you have some unresolved things. Because, we get 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Some of them just go and but when you write it down, now you have the evidence as to areas where, okay, I'm still thinking about this. I wonder why. Or I see, I may need to, it really gives you power when you do this. So that's my top tip, 48-hour thought observation exercise. It's uncomfortable because not many people are used to getting a pen and paper. But if you do it, it's worth it. You begin to understand how your mind is working. It's conscious thinking. Then the
And
next
everybody
time,
can do it. I love that.
Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. And if you find that it's a pattern of recurring thoughts from the past, it's usually from the past, then now you have the information there. So you can think, okay, am I going to keep reacting to something that happened what, 5 weeks, 5 years ago, because then you've just increased your awareness. Now you've got it in your hand. You can now start to learn to pause. And that pause is where you get the power. Because before, you've just been reacting, thinking this is just how the mind works. And now you're in control.
When he's saying that with the Optimus Prime, that depth, that
No.
registered, that like down low there,
Yep.
it's just like, you need to do this. If you don't do this, you will regret it from every single moment on from you're hearing love the top tip. So guys, get your pen, get your paper, get a little booklet, whatever, spend 48 hours. It's literally nothing compared to the rest of your life, right? And just listen into what Ayo just told you.
Worth it.
Any negative thought, this is
Yeah.
it is one of those, I'm going mind blowing right now. My mind is blown. Yeah.
Yeah, because negative thoughts are feedback. It's feedback. It shouldn't fight them. Just observe them. And then when you observe them, your mind then becomes your servant, not running you, so.
Yeah. I just had a negative thought as you were speaking this. This is the funny. I just had a negative thought, and I just briefly reflected over when it came from, and I realized that what I'm doing after this talk, I need to do something exactly when this podcast is over, this episode. It was just one of those. I just need to grab it, but thank you. So this is how empowering it is, right? Just allow it to come in and just take it and do something with it. Oh, that was. Thank you, Ayo. All right, Lucas. What's on your mind?
Yes, well, thank you. I love that. And I think that those that are, we all have negative thoughts. Like, this is not something new, but it is to write them down, to look at them, to get that snapshot that you're talking about, Ayo. That is eye-opening, because I know people in my vicinity, for myself, whoever needs to look at it sometimes.
It is important because it's only for 48 hours. And that 48 hours will just give you you don't have to do it every day. People shouldn't think that this, every time they write it down, because the people are going to just give up. It's just that snapshot. So you can get an idea of what's happening. And then when you get an idea, that's where you have, you're empowered when you do it. And it's an exercise, if you really want to gain.
Yeah, well, 100%. And
Yeah,
I like the data-driven approach as well. Like, you get the data, you get understanding. Is this something that I need to work on, or is it not? I mean, if you only have 3 negative thoughts in a 48-hour window, maybe it's not something that I need to work on currently. That's amazing. But if it's 200, well, Lord, oh Lord, you have a problem.
Yeah, you were unconscious about. You just thought it was normal thinking, and now you got it on paper. You got the evidence, so it's empowering.
100%.
It's empowering.
Yes. Now, I'm curious, before we go into wrapping this up, Ayo, you're now out, you're speaking, you're doing speeches at schools, in corporate, in different places. You see other speakers during this time. Out of what you learn now about speaking, what is the top tip you would give others that are just doing presentations the same old way currently? What is the thing?
Well,
You
there's
just pause them and
I would say there's so many that I can't give just one. Okay, I would say don't go out and just talk at people, at audiences. Don't go out and present to them, because it's not a performance. You need to share your message from the heart as a lived experience. That is where the power is. And you make sure that you add, secondly, I would say, make sure you add as many of David's spice components of David's spice rack, because that makes the talk more, it improves your delivery, it improves audience engagement, and it makes it more memorable. And then lastly, if you're going to use slides, don't use a white background. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I was like, wait, oh, he just spoke my language. He spoke the language of PowerPoint. Oh.
Yeah.
No, don't. White backgrounds has nothing to do with that. I love that. I think that should be the underlining of every communicational aspect of everything that we do in life. Never use white background on PowerPoint. Yeah. I think I should print a T-shirt. We should all print T-shirts. Just saying
Yeah.
that. Just stating that would be great.
No white PowerPoints.
No
No,
white PowerPoint.
no
No white
white
PowerPoint.
background.
No.
No, not good. Not good.
No.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, thank you. Love the tips, Ayo. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure. Sorry, yes,
Well,
Alex,
yeah, I didn't even let my host in on this, like my co-host in this. I want to put you on the hot seat, man. I want to hot you. I want to hot you into the hot seat of 10 tough thoughts. That means I'm gonna drop 10 really quick things, and I just want to say which one you love the most, and you're going to say that. So I'm just going to rapidly put 10 things in front of you, and then I just want to eagerly listen in, and I think that we get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready for this, Ayo?
Go.
All right, good. 10 tough thoughts by Alex and Lucas on this podcast. Fast food or fine dining?
Fine dining.
Water or wine?
Water.
Swimming or walking?
Walking.
Stay at home or travel?
Oh,
Come on.
travel.
Travel, okay. Car or motorcycle?
Car.
Off-grid or city?
City.
Bed or sofa?
Bed.
Let's see. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Online or face-to-face?
Face-to-face.
Red or blue?
Blue.
That has been 10 tough thoughts with Alex and Lucas on this podcast. Very
What
well.
about
You did get there.
guest referral? You wanted me to refer a guest?
Yeah,
But that's
it's
coming. It's coming. This was just
this is
a
Alex
little add-on.
hijacking my schedule. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what
I
he's
know,
doing,
I
but
know.
it's amazing.
It's
your
about
schedule.
having
Funny.
the unexpected happening, right? The unexpected
Yeah,
happens
Good.
sometimes.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
Good.
Fire.
Good.
Yes. Okay, Ayo. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and we want to keep growing this podcast with more guests coming in. Do you have a specific person or entity, someone that you are thinking of that you would love to understand more about, like sharing about public speaking, what they're doing? We would super interested just to get a tip from you.
Oh, this one's easy. This one is so easy. It would be my wife, Dr. Biljana Todorova Johnson. She is a PhD in science. She's a professional coach. She's a speaker with over 120 conferences under her belt. She's spoken in 10 different countries in the last 18 months. She's got a best-selling book called Neuro Excellence. And she helps you to acquire the tools and the knowledge necessary to unlock the extraordinary potential of the brain. She's quite formidable, and I think she would be a fantastic guest, even if I say so myself.
You can.
Notes have been taken.
Wonderful.
Yes. I'm writing it down as we speak.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr.
Alex will reach
Biljana
out to me.
Todorova.
Doctor.
Thank you. I love that. It shows so much more than I appreciate that.
Well,
I
you're
really
very
do.
welcome. I've got her book here, but I left it on the table. It's just there.
Ah,
I can show you.
next time.
Stay there. Stay there.
Yeah,
Don't
we're
move.
freezing. Freeze frame. Walking over, getting the book. He was walking over, getting the book,
Yeah.
and he's holding it up.
Ooh, Neuro
Excellence. Excellence. Yes.
That
And then
is
we have an
the
image
book.
as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she would be a fantastic person for you to speak to. Yeah.
Perfect.
But if
Perfect.
people want to speak to you, then
Mm-hmm.
where do I find you? Well, I know where to find, but where do the listener? Where do we find you? We want to connect with you. There would, even if Biljana might be people they want to listen to as well, or people want to listen to her, of course. But where do they find you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me. Oh, for
Yeah.
me. I mean, I have a website. It's AYO dash, not an underscore. So it's AYO-Johnson.com. So you could say Ayo-Johnson.com. And my LinkedIn is Ayo-Johnson 22.
Very important, guys. 22.
22, yeah. For the
Yep.
LinkedIn, it's Ayo Johnson 22 for the LinkedIn. I couldn't just get the Ayo Johnson on its own because there were so few others apparently.
I'm frustrated. We should do something with that. We should call LinkedIn and just like,
know.
excuse me, can you remove everybody else and just put Ayo Johnson, the man himself, on the first
Remove
one.
the imposters. They are gone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
A pleasure, Ayo, to have you with us. Thank you for joining. It's been such a fun talk, and I'm looking forward to see whatever comes next for you. Super excited for that. Good luck in the future. Good luck with bashing down the doors at the speaker agencies. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. To you who has been listening, this has been the Public Speaking Podcast, a special episode of SpeakerX Success Series with our favorite speaker, Ayo Johnson. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. See you next week.
Arrivederci, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.